Gentlemen.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Company of Heroes 2. I am the machine of the Gentlemen, but today I'm casting with someone different, someone special. I'm branching out lately. First, Festive Long Johns, but now I have Mr. ComputerHeat, the man himself.
Hello world, I'm ComputerHeat, and today we got a replay that was sent to me by Strixeh, so I called up Machine and asked him if he wanted to join me for the cast, so yeah, that's what we're doing.
That's it, building the narrative. Well done.
So, yeah, obviously we've got US versus OKW on this one, and I know I said that Strixeh sent this one, but I just want to say, if anyone's groaning, going, oh, spoilers, that Strixeh is, in addition to being a really good player and just generally a good guy, he's also willing to share replays where he loses. So
I love those guys. Those are the best.
I have absolutely no idea where this is going.
We'll have to find out here. So we do have Lungraskaya. It's definitely one of the only real open maps in KOTU. Most of the maps are very urban, very cluttered. What do you think about Lungras? How does it make you feel?
Oh, I get a good feeling whenever I see Langra loading up in the replay, just because there are so many good games. Yeah, it's in the first game it was Langra, and in my mind it remains Langra in the same way that I always call caches OPs, and you know, generally get things wrong in that way. But yeah.
Well, I just feel like my entire life is a lie because I've been calling it Lungras.
Lungras.
Yeah.
You know,
it's French,
I got a French guy that I play some 3v3s with, and I'll ask him. So he corrected my pronunciation of L'Église, and get him help out with this also.
I think my worst one in Co 1, do you remember, I don't even know how to say it, but like Bork's Lowlands?
Oh, God, Lowlands. I mean,
yeah,
as it's known to everyone.
Yeah. Other than that, though, we should actually talk about the game that we are seeing. We do have a very decisive cutoff here by RunToTheSun, and that's not exactly a surprise, because Kubelwagens are very, very strong, especially on a map like Lungra, when it's very open. Kubelwagens can maneuver very aggressively and are quite safe and quite hard to flank. So, nice work putting the pressure on. We do have Strixeh trying his hardest to get it back. Stumpani is closing in though, but they're very, very weak and will be shredded.
Oh, taking a couple of casualties really fast. Oh my god, I think they... Oh, no, the suppression's gone in on the riflemen, and they're going to have to head on back to base. And they're... Yeah, these Storm Pioneers just going to make short work of them.
Yeah, nice targeting.
And off they go back home. Strixeh has managed to take back his cutoff, however, but, you know, for how long? A flank did go in, a small flank with his rear echelon squads, and they've managed to push the Kubelwagen back, and then with another squad of rifles coming back out of the base, it looks like the pin is broken. That Kubelwagen's going to be able to make it safely on back home and get fixed up. No problem.
We actually had double rear echelon coming out of Strixeh, and it's an interesting move because rear echelon just really are bad in combat, but the reason why you see that is because rear echelon are actually quite good against Kubelwagens relative to their cost. They're pretty much 2 for the price of 1 rifleman, and on a map like Lungras where the Kubelwagen is going to be so rampant, having that rear echelon is quite nice. And the reason why that is because Kubelwagens, rear echelons suck balls because they have a really low accuracy, but because Kubelwagens are a vehicle, they have a higher target size than infantry, so the low accuracy of rear echelon isn't that much of an issue. They hit a lot more, so you don't even see rear echelon do particularly that much less damage compared to riflemen against vehicles, where against infantry you definitely notice the ridiculously huge difference.
We got the battle group headquarters going up just on the other side of the hedgerow, and I believe this is one of the hedgerows that you can attack ground with AT guns. Correct me if I'm wrong.
I don't know.
Well, we might find out later on. But so Strixeh's harassing. He's been harassing the left fuel point whenever he's had the opportunity to. And this time, I don't know if he's lost track of these rear echelons or if he just wants to raise the flag as much as he possibly can before getting chased up with Volksgrenadiers.
These riflemen are getting annihilated, running through 2 squads of Volksgrenadiers. Will he get wiped on retreat? It looks like he's going to be fine. Another squad getting very low here. Strixeh needs an ambulance desperately. Sticking around that squad for far too low. If he gets away with both of those squads, he will be one lucky man. He does indeed. Not losing any squads. But now having the lieutenant... Oh no, lost the squad actually.
He lost the rear echelon squads that were capturing the
the fuel. Okay. So we do have the M20 coming out. A really good counter as well against that Kubelwagen. And especially when you have that early game moment when there's actually no Shreks on the Volksgrenadiers, you can be very aggressive with that because, of course, there's no Panzerfaust like you would see against the Wehrmacht.
Yeah, and with the repair truck not up, he's not going to have to worry about a fast Puma or anything like that coming in, shutting down his M20 immediately. And this is going to give him a little bit of extra time with that. That said,
he's battling hard for this cutoff. He really wants to hold it and run to the sun. He hasn't put his foot off the pedal here. He really wants to try and cut this one off. But the bleed has been quite severe for Strixeh. His riflemen, they're being sent out on what, 15% health. He's going to be losing so much manpower. But the M20 does come in now.
Yeah, I despair for this one rifleman squad leaving the base. Yo, this M20's just got free range at the moment. Let's see how ballsy he gets with it. Oh my god, he might be able to kill the Stern Pioneer right here in retreat. That's going to be the end of repairs until a new squad goes up.
They die so fast to the flaks, though. We'll have to see. If he gets around the corner, he's got to be careful. No, not quite. And yeah, those flak emplacements, they absolutely chunk down the M20s. You do have to be very careful. Close, though. It definitely would have been a huge blow if he was actually able to wipe those Stern Pioneers. Rifleman at the top, gonna have to retreat.
Grenadiers in the middle are about to pop a Shrek.
Oh, yeah, there we go. We'll take 2 shots though if he misses. Hits the ground, so the M20 will be fine. But now all of a sudden, Strixeh has lost a pretty big window, especially to wipe that Kubelwagen.
Yeah, he missed his chance to wipe the Kubelwagen. He missed his chance to kill the Stern Pioneers. So, I mean, that's going to cost a lot for Run to the Sun to get them all up to full squad members. But you know, it's not going to be too much of an issue. And yeah, if he'd been able to kill those, it would have really forced Run to the Sun, I think, to get another squad of Stern Pioneers, or risk constantly running into M20 mines and not being able to repair this Kubelwagen up to full health. Now it's getting healed up, and yeah, we won't see that thing dying immediately the next volley of shots.
Especially now with Raketenwerfer, there's going to be no shortage of AT there on the side of Run to the Sun. Still no ambulance here for Strixeh. He really, really needs that ambulance.
Oh, it's just driving onto the field right now, actually. Yeah.
Oh, awesome. Jolly good. I eat my words. They don't taste very nice, but I eat them. I digest them and regurgitate them violently. So that's nice. M20 mine actually being planted. I love that spot. That is a really good spot for the M20 mine. Because it's so deep, you generally won't run minesweepers there by accident. But it's actually a pretty important flank route. So that can definitely be the end of a Puma or a Panzer II. Meanwhile, we have a shoe mine being planted by the Stern Pioneers. Not sure if it actually got revealed, though. The M20 was quite close. Kubelwagen going to get focused, though, by the M20. And the Raketenwerfer is ready and waiting for it. Pops the smoke for the disengage. M20 will live to see another day.
Nice move there. Lucky to not get any damage at all. And looks like, yeah, we do have doctrine picks from both players. So we have Airborne from Strixeh, which makes me think that he's probably going to go straight for a major and maybe airdrop some AT guns once he gets those available to him. And we do have the Schwerer Panzer headquarter going up near the cutoff for Run to the Sun, and that should be able to cover his munitions and also cover the BP.
Oh, a big rifleman push though in the middle. Stern Pioneers holding the line pretty effectively. And the Volks are reinforcing over the hedge from their battle group headquarters. That is ridiculous. And the riflemen will all have to disengage. Strixeh is engaging these so uncost efficiently. The manpower bleed has got to be adding up.
Yeah, I think he's at the point now where he needs to mix up his army a little bit more. He's just going to have diminishing returns on his flanks. You can see that Run to the Sun has got, you know, he managed to rebuff that attack without losing any territory. He didn't even really lose any manpower. He's got almost 400 at the moment, and he's just going to be sitting pretty. Machine gun is building right now for Strixeh, so I think that's probably going to mean he's going to go for another just full frontal assault, although with a little bit of suppression power, he might have a little more luck.
Yeah, surprised he didn't go for a airborne squad with a M1919s. Didn't have the munitions, though, for the M19s, given that he did actually plant down that M20 mine. So the 50 cals, they can be nice against the Obersoldaten because of the suppression, but at the same time, Obers can often just instantly wipe the gunner from the front. So it can be hard using MGs against Obersoldaten.
And there is a squad of Obersoldaten about to finish up. And RunToTheSun has been putting down a couple of more shoe mines just up through the middle of the fields. So that ought to slow down any advance. Although we do have a minesweeper from Strixeh, and he just has discovered and swept the mine that was on the road. So that's very nice. And the M20 is putting another mine almost right on top of it. So he's got the left side locked down pretty well. And you know, RunToTheSun hasn't gotten any minesweepers. And he should really be thinking he hasn't seen any kind of munitions upgrade. He hasn't seen grenades. He hasn't seen bars. That will be coming soon.
That being said, though, he isn't really being aggressive with his Kubelwagen, so sweeping it isn't a priority, but if he does decide to field a Panzer II or a Panther, he will really need to make sure he does start sweeping out those fields. Riflemen are pushing through the right here. MG's going to be, no, Kubelwagen actually going to be suppressing down the Lieutenant, and another really nice engagement here by RunToTheSun. What did I miss?
Oh man, the Volksgrenadiers by the fuel tossed a grenade on top of a rifle squad.
Oh wow, I see their bodies. Chunks. Yeah, those Volks grenades, they got a big fuse time increase, 0.75 to 1.25, but damn, they still pack a punch. M20 gotta be careful, the Panzer headquarters is firing at it, taking it a bit low, but it will go in quite deep. It's gonna be flanking the rocket. No, he's camping the battle group headquarters.
Interesting.
Not quite sure what he's doing.
For a second, he might actually jump out the squad and try to shoot the battle group headquarters with the bazooka. That'd be a really bad move, but it would have been fun to watch. It's
a nice flank on the Raketenwerfer, but it will be refacing. Now, M20 will get out of range, barely, and he has to be careful, though, of the Volksgrenadier squad nearby. That was a really ballsy move, and I'm not exactly sure what he was trying to achieve with it. Gotta say though, it is pretty good placement of these trucks from RunToTheSun, the battle group headquarters, in a way that it means that even if he retreats all of his squads, he won't really lose any map control because he's still on the field. And the the Panzer headquarters is able to lock down 4 points: the VP, the munitions, and the 2 fuel. So it's very, very efficient lockdown. M20 though doesn't get caught by that last wreck, so it will drive away.
Yeah, it's living a charmed life. Strixeh's had his rear echelon troops over on the left side idle. It'd be really nice if you could connect that fuel that he took a minute ago. But yeah, RunToTheSun's got a very strong lockdown on the left side of the map, and I mean that's something that, you know, even in the first company of heroes, the south side of this map it's really easy to hold on to your own VP and keep your munitions point and usually also your fuel, even if you're very much on the back foot. So that lets the OKW player really drag out any match into the late game where he's strongest. And I think we're going to see RunToTheSun go for that. RunToTheSun's got a lot of fuel and a fair chunk of manpower right now. And I really, really hope that he goes for a Sturmtiger. Just because I want to see some gigantic explosions.
That's true. I would also like to see gigantic explosions. We do have a second squad of Obersoldaten though for RunToTheSun, and it means that now there isn't going to be really that much effective use of these riflemen. When Obersoldaten hit the field, you can't really rely on your infantry play. You have to have vehicles because Obersoldaten are just so cost effective. But we do actually have an M8 Scott coming out, and that is exactly what Strixeh needs. With the M8, he's going to be able to poke away and chip away at the MG, the Volks, the Obersoldaten. So it's going to be very, very important, and we'll have to see how he manages to make use of it.
Yeah, it's a strong unit, and the indirect fire that it gives is very good against the very defensive style that RunToTheSun has been using. So he'll be able to, you know, if RunToTheSun chooses to fight around his battle group headquarters and keep all of his units there as he's been doing, then the Scott can really punish that. That said, I still think RunToTheSun's in a pretty commanding position right now.
Yeah, and
the Oberblob is coming up into the middle, supported by the Panzerwerfer and Raketenwerfer, and that's going to push back all of the units from Strixeh, who I should note has gotten bars on his rifles.
Yeah, since the buff bars are definitely a lot stronger now, and actually are worth going for if you can afford the munitions. 50 cal is suppressing some pretty good Obers here. MG34 actually will get suppressed as well, but suppression battle. Meanwhile, Riflemen on the right are very, very low, and there's a lot of Obersoldaten. They're going to have to retreat.
So, a lot of health. Oh, off they go back onto base.
Paratroopers have been called in now. Not really a lot of munitions though, so he's going to have to wait until he can upgrade those. They're still pretty effective with just their regular carbines, but it's definitely worth getting an upgrade if you can.
Oh, the first thing they do is just have to retreat. And the Scot put in its first shot, and doesn't manage to get any kills, but
not yet.
Forces the Obersoldaten to move around. Yes, it won't be long until it wipes a squad, I'm sure.
Yeah, and you gotta be really careful because it does get two-shotted by a Shrek or a Raketenwerfer, so if you do get caught, they die very quickly. Oh, there we go, there's 4 Vox.
Oh my god!
The Raketenwerfer going very deep, may get caught by the paratroopers and the lieutenant. Going into the garrison, it's a risky move
that
here.
garrison's pretty weak.
Yeah, it's a wooden garrison, takes more
losing
damage.
a ton of health.
Wow!
Shot by fish. Oh,
Yeah.
man, RunToTheSun can't be happy about that.
Wooden garrisons, not exactly ideal. You wouldn't want to raise a family in a wooden garrison anymore.
No. The machine gun gets pushed off by the Obersoldaten, and it's going to be up to the Scot, together with the flanking lieutenant and paratroopers, to push off RunToTheSun from the middle. There's still mines around there, and although Strixeh got himself a minesweeper, it hasn't gone up into that area in quite a while.
Now, right now, this is a pretty hard spot in the matchup for OKW. When the M8 is running rampant, Nate going into the garrison though, dodges it. When the M8 is running rampant and there's just no counter to the M8 if you don't go Puma, until you are able to afford Panther, there's a pretty hard window. But just as I say that, there is actually enough fuel for a Panther, so this is a good angle and a good opportunity for Strixeh, but once that Panther comes out, then all of a sudden Strixeh is going to be pushed quite far back, and he's going to have to be very cautious with his M8.
Yeah, he's really hurting in terms of manpower, so even if you wanted to drop an airdrop an AT gun, it's going to be almost a full minute before he can afford that, and then he's going to have to...
He does actually have one in his base, though.
Oh, he does?
Yeah.
Okay, so just keeping that in his back pocket. And...
Ooh, there we go. There's the 3-man Sturm Pioneer wipe from the M8.
God damn.
To be fair, the Sturm Pioneers shouldn't have tried to assault the M8. It's not very effective. Volksgrenadiers not having much luck this game with their Shreks, missing pretty much the majority of their shots against the M20 and now against the M8 as well, it seems.
So something... Oh, down goes the Kubelwagen as well, and one thing to point out is that RunToTheSun has no repair ability at the moment. He doesn't have his repair truck up, and he lost his only squad capable of putting in repairs. So if this Panther goes in and hits a mine, that is going to be a real problem for him.
Yeah, and especially with that M6 mine in the middle on that road, that's a very common spot, so we'll have to be careful of that.
The thing is, there's no reason for the Panther to not just charge straight up the middle.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably what we're going to see happen. Although if Strixeh is able to lure it over the mine, then he's going to be...
There we go, the Panther's moving in now.
Sitting pretty.
Wants to find the M8. He's got within range now. He actually uses the strafe onto the AT to force it away. M8 does have the smoke and it will use it now. Panther does connect one shot. It only needs one more to take it down. Here come the Riflemen for their AT grenades, and there drops the M8. M1 is firing onto the Panther, but it will back away. Nades didn't penetrate for the damaged engine. Obersoldaten and the Fallschirmjäger are engaging, but there drops the Fallschirmjäger.
Wow, they did not last long. AT gun is cleared, but the Panther's pretty content to sit back behind some smoke.
Yeah, so all of a sudden, RunToTheSun's now in a very good spot. Because the Panthers, despite being a tank destroyer, they have such good anti-infantry with their pintle-mounted machine gun. You can run around sniping and doing a lot of damage to riflemen, and even to the AT gun if you actually are able to flank it. So Jax is coming out now for Strixeh. A good response.
I gotta say, I think that's a big mistake.
Really? Well, what other options are there?
A solitary Jackson against the Panther.
Oh, hits the M20 mine.
Okay.
Oh no!
Now it wasn't a mistake.
Not by any means.
And oh, this Panther's in trouble. He's in trouble
So
immediately.
He cancelled the Jackson now.
Himself.
Because he has the M1 ready to go. He's going to start chipping away at the Panther. And the Panthers are so expensive to replace. That being said, though, the M1 may even get wiped here. Oh, doesn't penetrate.
Oh, that hurts.
So good thing he didn't cancel the Jackson. Because now he can go in. But he's got to be careful because there's 2 Shreks. But that being said, though, there's only going to be one gets wiped by the rifle and salvaging in combat.
Do go down on retreat.
Yeah, salvaging gives you a lot of extra damage. Volks Grenadiers, though, they're going to be firing, and the Jackson is going to be taken quite low. The Panther will still fire. Will it actually penetrate? It doesn't penetrate the frontal armor. One more shot will take it out here. The rear armor is going to be exposed. It's outrunning the turret, and gets the kill on the Panther, but now it's driving through the Shrek. Probably shouldn't have gone that way. He knew the Shreks were there, but they were suppressed, so I think he was counting on the Volks Grenadiers either not firing or missing. Yeah, you also have less accuracy when you're suppressed, so there probably wasn't a high chance of the Shrek actually killing that Jackson and salvaging the Panther. Really nice salvaging, though. Does give you a bit of fuel back. He's going to need that fuel to get a second Panther.
Yes, he is. Oh, that was a hard loss for for both players, but I think, you know, even worse for Strixeh because he's losing the infantry war as well. Actually, you know, that said, he has managed to do quite a bit of damage. Oh, the Oversoldat nearly go down to a grenade from the paratroopers, and they're going to have to run on back to base. Yeah,
now Strixeh has the Vet 2 M19 paratroopers, and now he actually does have some pretty substantial infantry presence. And the unit preservation has been pretty good for Strixeh. There's not that many squads left. Only having 2.
Yeah, he did lose the one. He lost the one rifle squad to a grenade, and he lost a. Nearly lost another one to a mine. We just saw the Strixeh use his AT gun to destroy the wreck of the Jackson to deny the salvage to run to the sun.
Yeah. So just as I was going to say for Run to the Sun, he's lost his original Sturmpires, he's lost a Raketenwerfer, lost his Kubel, and lost a Volksgrenadier. So he's been losing a fair bit of squads, whereas Strixeh has been holding onto them, as you can see in the veterancy. Especially as he starts to get more and more bars on the field, he's actually going to be doing pretty okay in these infantry engagements, just not when the Obersoldaten are there contributing, especially at the Vet 2. The Obersoldaten Vet 2 get a crazy good accuracy bonus. I think it's like 40%, which for LMG Obersoldaten, it makes a massive difference. They chunk so much.
It's pretty disgusting. So we have a, I guess, RunToTheSun is clearly afraid of more vehicles from Strixeh, so he's getting himself a Raketenwerfer. I'm wondering what you think would be a good addition now to Strixeh's army. He's pretty hurting for manpower, but I think, you know, he's close to being able to afford himself whatever he wants out of his major tier.
He already has enough anti-infantry with the paratroopers and the bar riflemans, given that they have the better vet. So I think a Jackson, just hold it until the next Panther comes, and then eventually a Sherman. But Sherman and the Jacksons are a very strong combination. Obersoldaten are marching forward though, and the 50 cal was actually suppressed, so will get wiped by the Sturm Pioneers and the Obers. This army is collapsing, especially with the M1. That's wiped as well. That's more stuff to salvage.
No.
And that's going to mean the Panther's going to be coming even sooner.
Oh yeah, the M20 should be getting in there. I mean, he chased off the only bit of anti-tank that RunToTheSun had, but now the AT gun is destroyed, and that's going to leave Strixeh in a bad spot.
Yeah, still a fair bit of fuel until the next Panther, so there's a fair bit of time for Strixeh to prepare himself, but charging into Obersoldaten behind heavy cover, not exactly very efficient. Nades are going through, but they will be dodged in the MG34 as well, continuing to suppress. A really nice angle for RunToTheSun here.
Oh, those rifles are just dying so quickly. Oh. Well, it looks like Strixeh is saving up to get himself a vehicle. He's actually getting himself another machine gun right now.
Yeah.
Interesting choice.
A Sherman could have been really nice if he still had the M1, but without the M1, the Sherman would just get roasted by that Panther when it shows up.
I'm still holding out hope for a. I'm still holding out hope for a Sturm Tiger. Just full.
Yeah. Probably not.
So the lieutenant has managed to take down the, to lower the VP on the left side of the map.
The Panzer headquarters locks it down.
Yeah, it's a nasty combination on that side.
You basically can't push back. Even if you have the entire map and you have your opponent push back, they still retain about 40% of the territory just because of the way that Lungras is designed. M20 going very deep here. And I gotta say, Strixeh's been doing pretty well at actually keeping this M20 alive. It's a vet too, and it's really nice to have those mines in the late game. Because you don't get mines on your rear echelon, God knows why you don't actually get mines as US, but in the case of the M20, it's incredibly powerful to have that, but normally you just can't keep it alive because it does die pretty quickly when vehicles start hitting the field.
One issue that he's been having is, from, I would say, most of the game at this point, RunToTheSun has controlled both munitions points. So we can see RunToTheSun has got almost 300 munitions, and Strixeh's been struggling to get every last, I guess it's not drops of munitions, but every last bullet.
Yeah. And that's good because we can see a lot of munitions there for RunToTheSun, and that's going to be really helpful when he wants to use his airborne assault, as we have seen previously. Not only does it have the strafing run, which is quite potent, but also you get essentially a free sort of Fallschirmjäger, which is an absolute blessing to have for Oberkommando West, because then you do have those Panzerfaust, which otherwise you lack for that vehicle snare. So it's really a good way of just spending that munitions float. If he did actually go for his tier 2, then he would have a lot of munitions to convert into fuel, which would help him get his next Panther or a King Tiger or in the fantasy land of ComputerHeat, a Sturm Tiger.
Just anything big that makes a loud boom,
like a
and I'm content.
Yeah, but wasting no time at all, the Panther being built right away for RunToTheSun. And it's going to be a bit of an interesting spot here. The game does look pretty even, but then take a look at the VPs, and RunToTheSun definitely in the VP lead. 165 for Strixeh, 480 for RunToTheSun. So the pressure is on for Strixeh.
Yeah, the one thing that would be very helpful for Strixeh, if this would be helpful. He just managed to snag himself a Raketenwerfer, but the lack of the control of munitions, one of the very strong abilities in this doctrine is the P-47 airstrike.
Yeah,
he's not going to be able to use that unless he can get solid control of that BP, or of that munitions point for a good long time.
Even then, I'm pretty sure these squads don't have double bars. A lot of them only seem to have one. So munitions are definitely a nice incentive to have now as US, where bars do make a pretty substantial impact. Where before, because bars were just so rubbish, you wouldn't really bother.
So I think Strixeh did miss an opportunity back there a minute ago to take the munitions point. But he's got himself a Jackson right now, and we'll see if he goes for another Jackson. He's got enough fuel for it, and he nearly has enough manpower, and he's really going to need that against this Panther.
I think Sherman synergize much better than a Panther, not only obviously for the anti-infantry power, but then the Sherman can be in the front and absorb the damage and give the scouting, where double Jacksons, it's just so easy to lose them. MG gets wiped in the middle though. The Panther is firing with its MGs. Riflemen are getting pretty low here, but the Volksgrenadiers in the negative cover are getting destroyed by that lieutenant. Obersoldaten have joined the fight with their double MGs.
Yeah, those Volksgrenadiers are also reinforcing as they're fighting. So, the lieutenant's doing a ton of damage to them, but he's just not doing it fast enough.
Oh, and there goes the Vet 3 Lieutenant. Jackson is firing as well. Oh. That's a really filthy spot to put the battle group headquarters. I didn't know you could reinforce over the hedge. That is absurd.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of maps where you can do that. I'm trying to think of some other good ones, but this is an excellent place for that. I think you can do it in a couple of places on Kolodny from. Oh boy, the Raketenwerfer just went down. So this Jackson is gonna have to hold off the Panther by himself.
Yeah, if it actually penetrates.
Rifle grenade.
There we go. Takes it a bit low. M20.
Oh, there we go.
It does scale well just because of the lack of Panzerfaust for OKW. So it still is a really nice MG and an Obersoldaten deterrent, as we can see being used to its full effect.
Do you know how quickly it goes down to a the airborne assault? Because I know that the strafe that does can kill things like Scots, and I'm sure it can also kill.
Wow.
Yeah.
I've seen it kill ambulances. I don't think so.
Kill ambulances. It used to kill Scots. I assume that it still does.
Yeah,
I don't think it's
do a little
gotten
bit.
changed particularly.
I haven't seen it, to be honest. I don't imagine to do a lot, but it will do a little bit. Wow, that 50 cal is in a negative cover. Obersoldaten have hit Vet 4. The Obersoldaten are getting scarier and scarier. M20 Mine may not quite going to hit the Panther. It was looking like he was going for it.
I think he's trying to lure him over it.
Yeah, and you really
he's trying to lure him over it.
may even lose the left-hander. Oh, the Vet 3 Rifleman. So double Jackson, actually. And I really don't like this double Jackson because he doesn't have any squads. He's losing all of his squads. He doesn't have any riflemen anymore. How can he deal with the infantry with no riflemen? And again, it's just so easy to lose those Jacksons when you have nothing to scout or nothing to soak the damage for the other Jackson. You really do need to have either a Sherman or a M8 to deal with those heavily vetted Obersoldaten. So
yeah, Strixie's now in the position of having to buy more riflemen at 31
Yeah, that being
minutes
said, the Jacksons will have a lot of damage if they actually penetrate. Panther, though, it needs to be back behind the Raketenwerfers or behind the Volksgrenadiers. It can't go in on its own. Jacksons do miss, though. The accuracy isn't fantastic at long range.
Your rear armor facing toward those big cannons.
Jackson going on the hunt. They want to find this Panther, but not quite able to get the vision. Jackson's not having... And now he's really deep. All it takes is a single Raketenwerfer or a Volksgrenadiers to shred them quickly. Panther, though, it can juke around the base. Volksgrenadiers ready and waiting for it. And the flaks do so much damage to the Jacksons. This is a really bad move. Doesn't penetrate the frontal armor on the Panther. And there goes one of them. Once again, just not penetrating. And now the Jackson's going to get caught by the Shreks and by those flaks. The Panther is deflecting every shot. The Jacksons just don't penetrate consistently. He's going to lose the other Jackson by the looks of it. No other Shreks on the retreat path, so we'll get away from this one, though. The Panther on the chase will get the wipe. Wow.
Oh, and I think that's probably going to be the nail in the coffin for Strixie. He's lost...
That is not how you use Jacksons.
Most of his army, and he has managed to take one VP back in his control below 50, and he's draining. Run to the Sun he just needs to hold the line now, and he's going to have this game won.
Yeah, strafing run being called in as well, so adding insult to injury. Raketenwerfer being captured. The Panther's pretty low, so he has to be careful.
Oh my god, now
there's a snipe the ambulance
light machine gun for these paratroopers with the Fallschirmjäger to pick up.
Oh wow. Yeah, you gotta be careful with your ambo sometimes. Ambo can get sniped very, very easily, and there's just not enough veterancy on these new riflemen. They're getting shredded. This is an unwinnable situation now when there's vetted Obersoldaten, vetted Shreks, a Panther, and there's just no light vehicles. Throwing away those Jacksons was a pretty big deal. Again, I think a Sherman and a Jackson would have worked a lot better because you can go that balls deep with the Sherman because then not only do the Shermans have a lot of extra health, they actually have better armor, so they do deflect some shots, and then you can turn and engage the infantry if you'd so desire. Because with the 50 cals as well, you're still going to be doing pretty good damage to infantry, even if you have the AP ammo selected and you're still trying to chunk away at the vehicle. The 50 cal and the MGs will continue to do some nice damage to infantry. Especially Raketenwerfers, yeah.
You just have seconds left in this game, and...
GG, well played.
I think, yes, it was. And, yeah, so, thank you, Strixie, for sending in this replay. Better luck next time, but Run to the Sun, I believe at the moment he's the number 2 1v1 OKW player. And
yeah, he's pretty damn good.
Number 1 for a long, long time.
Yeah, you can see why. A really solid play overall.
Well,
any last words?
You have any? Yeah.
Oh, not really.
I'm curious what you think. I'm curious what you think. What Strixie could have done differently to be able to last longer. You know, to have this game go in his favor.
Well, once he lost the M8, it was hard to come back from. When you have the M8, you really got to listen for the Panther through the fog of war, because you can hear it coming pretty easily. Not only will you hear the engine, you'll also hear the sound of it crushing objects and whatnot. So yeah. you can, you know, keep an eye out for it and just back it away straight away. If he had the M8, he would have been able to snipe away, poke away, and really bleed a lot of the infantry. It's hard to come back from. The unit preservation for those vehicles is quite important because You don't generally engage that efficiently in those infantry battles once you sort of hit the mid-game with Obersoldaten, and once you get over 3 vet. That being said, though, I think if there was a Sherman, again, I keep saying the Shermans, I love them. They're, on their own, they're the good against infantry, but against, like, with either a Jackson or with M1s, and they do actually start to be pretty effective against Panthers, and they can wipe on retreat really well. You can get pretty good RNG with AP ammo, and then the moment that you actually do burst and say kill 2 or 3 out of like a 4 squad Obersoldaten, just chase it on retreat. Because you have that pintle mounted, the 50 cal, the damage on retreat is really good against infantry, so you can actually wipe squads pretty easily if you are able to get within close after getting a nice AP ammo shot. Sorry, HE shot.
Definitely, and yeah, like you said, losing that M8 was huge.
It's a hard matchup, though. It really is hard to deal with the combination of Panthers, Obersoldaten, Shreks on Volks, but yeah, I think.
And when he had that crippled Panther that ran over the mine, which was a great move. Losing that Jackson was really hard, because then it forced him to have to go reinvest everything into anti-tank again in preparation for the next. In preparation for the next Panther, which he knew was coming.
And I think that's the hard part for the matchup is when you do have to invest in the anti-tank, but you need those vehicles to be anti-infantry for the Obersoldaten. It puts you in that awkward situation where you can't really have anti-both, whereas for Germans, the Panther is anti-tank and anti-infantry as well. So it's very versatile and very multi-purpose. But that'll wrap it up, I think. Thank you for watching.
Yes, indeed.
And thank you for casting with me.
Yes, it was a good old time.
I'll be sure to put a link in the description if you want to check out ComputerHeat's shoutcast. He does a fair bit of KOTOR.
Yeah, so usually me and Kilrathi Soldier or another guest, and I'll just say bye-bye, everybody.
See ya.